Hello and welcome. In this video we are going to learn how you can insert data into database using Axios, Vuejs and Laravel. So let's start. I have already created a task table for the database. It has just a title and a status plus the model and the controller. Those are both empty. And the next thing, we should register our controller. For the controller is the route. We will register them in the API. You should do the same, because whenever you are going to send a request, it is an Ajax request and it should come through the API, so you can write it here. So that way you can just go to the API / your controller name, like that. You do not write it in the web. So let's go to our file here. As you can see, we have only the dashboard here. Under the dashboard, I will just create another Vue.js component to display a form to create task for us. So I'll just close some of this, and if I come to the preset, here we have to the asset folder. In the component, we have our example component here. So I will just save as this one and use the same. I will just write the name as task form.view. Now I will customize it. First of all, I will remove the first two, the container and the row here. It is just fine, and let's give them a proper name for this one: form or task form. And inside this one we will have our form. So let's create our form. So I'll quickly just skip the creation of the form. Here is our form. I will save it, and let's see it in the dashboard. As you can see, we have not registered our task, so we will come to the JS folder here, the JS file, and I will use the view.component, and it will of course accept two parameters. For the first one is task form, and for the second one we will require it. It should go to the same directory, to the component and task form.view. If I save it now, and let's use it here. So I will open the home.build.php. It should be under the row here. I will use the task form here. If I refresh my page, as you can see, it will display here. Next up, we will give a little spacing above this one. If I come here, I can just write empty or margin top as a 4 value. Next thing, when someone submitted, where should it go? You can write in Vue.js at submit. If you write a submit, then you can call a function here. For example, add task would be just fine. Add task, and you will create our function here. And here you should write a methods property here. Inside this one, you will write the add task function simply here. And for now, if someone click on that, it should alert that adding task. If I save it for now and refresh the page, so as you can see, so if I write nothing, just add the task, as you can see, adding the task. If I click OK, it will send me to the page. It should not send me, so we should prevent it. And the Vue.js, you can just use the event modifier, or once, or let's say prevent will prevent data from sending. So if I refresh this time the page and click on this one, it will say adding the task. Okay, it will not send us. So what we are going to do is that when we fire the function here, we should send an Ajax request so that we can get data and save it to the database. For this one, we should open our developer tool here in the network tab and see how we can send our data. Plus, if you go to the element or the view, here we have our task and we have nothing here. As you can see, everything is just fine. So I will go to the network and we will just listen to the XHR request. If someone send it, then we will take those data here. So for now, if I come here, instead of the alert, it should be at the end. For example, you can use the Axios / just write the function here. And if I come to the documentation, of course it is very nice documentation here. What we are going to use is the post request. So you should focus on this portion a lot, and you should come here and read how they are going to send post requests, get requests, and all of those things. As you can see, it is very clear here. Of course, the Axios post will post to a URL, and the second parameter would be an object that send the data. And we have then function and cache function. When I was learning it, I was thinking that someone should teach me a lot about this one. It is very simple. Then is when when you send the request and request is successful. Cache is when you have any error. This is much simple. And this one has a response. This one has an error object that will return. That is very simple. So let's use this in our project. So we have our Axios dot post. It will post the request. For now, we will just post the request to the URL we want. It is API, of course, from the root directory of your application. It will go to the API task. It is a post request, and for the second parameter, we will just send some data. Which data we are going to send? We should send the data from the input field. How you are going to do that one? For now, if I just write title as something, it will send me as something. So it should not send me something, it should send the data from here. So for now, if I refresh my page, nothing will happen. And if I come here and write anything, if I click on the add task we're adding, and as you can see, we have a 200 message, and the 200 message is success message. So this is fine for now. We can send that request successfully, but we should get data from the input and send it to the database. So we are going to use the Vuejs two-way data binding. If you search for the model here, you can use the model to send to get data between your item here. It is very simple. So if I come here, I will just add one more field here as a V model, and I will give them the name of title. For now, we have the title, but when you have it, you must define it here also as a data function. If I come and refresh my page, for now I should get an error. As you can see, an error. This error is because of the Vuejs. If I click on this one, it says that you have the title method, but you have not defined it in your function in the property here. So I will come here and I will write data function, and inside this one it should return, there should not be anything like this, and it should return an object, and on the object name is title. For now it is just an empty string. So I'll close this one as well as the semicolon. Make sure you have data as a function. When you are using single component in Vuejs, the data should be always function, but in their documentation it is a property, because they are not using the single component here. That's why it should be like that. I will save the file, and this time if I refresh my page, as you can see, we don't have any error. Plus, if I come here to the view, we have our form, we have the title. If I write something here, as you can see, it will automatically change the data here. So now we can send this data to the database and save that with controller. So here is what we are going to do. We will say the title should be as this dot title. This dot title will refer to the data as the title here. It will send us the title to this URL. So as you can see, the URL is our controller. So I will open the sidebar and going to the controller, the task controller. Here we will save them into the database. I will use the task create, and I will take all the requests and then I will return something. Even if you don't return, for now we are not going to send any message, just an empty object would be fine. For example, we will send a message and we will give it the value. So let's see how it is going to work. If I come here and refresh the page, this time in our database. If I come, we don't have any data, so I will just send the request from here. First, let's see, we have no data here. I will write a simple task here, like cleaning, add the task, adding the task, and after that, if I come to the database and refresh, okay, we don't have it. So let's check our network tab here. As you can see, we have 200 k message here, and it means it is successful. If I refresh it again, as you can see, we have it here. So let's add one more, like basic services, adding the task. If I come and refresh it, as you can see, we have the next one, and we have our successful messages here. So as you can see, we can just create data using Axios and the database like this. It is very simple. In the next video, we will just customize it and make it more beautiful, and even we should take the message and display here that we have successfully created the form, or we have successfully add the data to the database.